Hi there, I'm Brian from Fantasy Boom, and I'm going to be talking to you about why Draft is better than Draft Kings. Now, as I'm speaking to you right now, this is a brand new channel, so please hit like and subscribe as well. Now, why should you subscribe to our channel? Well, we're the only YouTube channel solely dedicated to covering both draft and a new DFS format called Predict Picks, which is also really fun to play. After watching this video, if you want to try Draft, click the link in the description for a free $3 entry. Now, I'm a cash player, 50-50 player, whatever you want to call it. And while I've had some really good weeks playing DraftKings, I've also had some terrible weeks where I basically lose all my money. It's difficult to have to nail 7 and many times 8 out of 8 players in order to cash. And it's especially difficult when you play against sharks who submit multiple lineups and sometimes push you over the cash line. There's been times where I'll submit multiple lineups myself and end up playing a same opponent every single time. He's an expert and he ends up beating me and I lose everything. Now, Draft is a platform that also, although they may not give you that GPP upside, the waters are not shark infested and you're presented with a better opportunity to win given that you do the proper research. Draft is so fun because it's a snake draft format. You have 30 seconds between picks. And if you end up with the second pick, you also get the third pick. So standard snake draft format for those of you who might play like Yahoo or ESPN, something like that. Now let me show you my results real quick. I do semi-daily draft videos. I do my own projections. I plug in everything you could possibly imagine about how they play home, away, how they play with. So for instance, right here, Ben Simmons, how he plays with Embiid on the floor versus how he plays with him off the floor. It's a lot of stuff involved in what I do. And then I come up with my own draft order. And even though the projections, I don't necessarily put them in order of how they're projected because there's always a human factor involved. So I'll do a little research, as you can see in my notes here. And then I'll come up with my order from there. 2 nights ago, I had a draft where I played Goran Dragic. He got pulled. I was getting a new phone at the time, so I wasn't able to make an adjustment. And even though I played 4 on 5, I still won by 20 points. Last night, I ended up with James Harden, Ben Simmons, Dwight Howard, Julius Randle, and Robert Covington. And when you do these snake drafts, there's 30 seconds in between picks, so they're really fast and really just a lot of fun. I had James Harden projected at 48 points. He scored about 40.8. Now, here at the end of the season, the stars are going to sit a little bit. It's actually really difficult to project here at the end of the season, but you already know that. Ben Simmons had him projected for 42. He ended up getting 38. I believe he was playing sick. Dwight Howard, I had him projected at 28. I had a feeling he was going to have a really good game based off my research. And while I knew my opponent was probably going to prefer Rudy Gobert, I went ahead and picked Howard ahead of him, and he got 37, so he actually scored 8 more than I projected. Julius Randle, I had him projected for 33. He ended up scoring 31. Robert Covington, I had him projected for 33, and he almost scored 31. So I was only, in my whole prediction, I was only 8 points under what I projected. And I projected 186, got a 177. My opponent, I projected him to get a 163. He got a 141. These were players, I didn't have any interest in these guys. Even though they projected a certain way, like Donovan Mitchell, I had him projected to score 41 points. He only scored 31. Now, a lot of it was because they absolutely blew out Golden State. So he did play better than I suspected he might. But as you can see, the discrepancies here are much, much different. Now, Prince was one I really missed on. I had him projected for 27. He was so low in my order here that I didn't really do research on him. So perhaps I would have bumped him up, but he scored 41. So he was one I, was really off on as far as my projection. But these guys, I was off on all of them technically, but these were players I didn't want based off my research. So I ended up winning by 36 points last night. Pretty good. So let's talk DraftKings. Playing cash on DraftKings. Now, I like to play $25 double ups personally. Now, obviously on DraftKings, you got this single entry double up, which is pretty ideal for the most part. But if you're looking to play more than $25, you usually have to get involved in the multiple entry double ups. And those are situations where you could run into a bunch of sharks who just post a whole bunch of lineups. And when there's only 183 entries, sometimes it can be very, very difficult to cash. Now, playing draft, it's head to head, or, you might have up to 6 opponents. Now, you could play draft on Draft Kings, but again, you still might be in that situation where you decide to play multiple lineups and you end up playing the same guy. And you never know when you're playing a shark. The difference on draft is if someone is a beginner, they're a beginner. If you're an expert, they're an expert. So you have an opportunity to go against guys who are basically on your same skill level here on the platform. So let's go down to $25 head-to-head, which is what I like to play. Here we go, right here. And again, I'm just playing against one guy. And it's a snake draft format. I'm not going to play today because I think it's the last day of the season today, and I think that's just asking for it when it comes to losing money playing DFS, because you never know what the hell the rotations are going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and sit it out tonight. But as you can see, you're drafting 2 guards, 2 forwards, 1 center. And these players are exclusive to you. It's not like with DraftKings where you're spending multiple hours trying to figure out the contrarian plays that you need in order to win. Here, it's always contrarian. The players you draft are specific to you. So if you get the first pick, you get the first pick. If you get the second pick, you get the second and third pick. The cool thing is the draft starts as soon as it's filled. And usually as soon as you enter, your opponent shows up within a few minutes after that. It's very quick. You don't have to wait around all day. You can even set your draft order ahead of time, which I always do, but you can do an auto draft. That way, if you're not there for it, the computer can pick for you. I don't usually recommend that because sometimes if my opponent picks a center with the first pick, I want to make sure I pick my center as my very last pick. And, sometimes if you have them in another order, you might pick them earlier, and that actually helps you. Actually hurts you. So you have 30 seconds between picks and a $45 prize pool. So pretty similar to if you were playing a head-to-head on DraftKings. But again, this is just really much, much better. Overall, playing head-to-heads and only having to worry about 5 players is much easier than having to worry about 8. And when you draft a player, like I said, he's exclusive to you, so you don't have to spend hours trying to find contrarian plays. Honestly, it's a lot more fun, too, than DraftKings is. So that's all I've got for you guys. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe. And as I said, I do semi-daily videos on draft. We do daily videos for predict picks, so definitely check out the channel and see what that's all about, because that format is a blast as well. You're going to forget all about DraftKings, forget all about FanDuel, forget all about fantasy draft, and whatever other DFS platform you play on. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.